Alright, this is about balancing the books. Balancing the books seen in society and communities, and why, and to antidote and to resolve the problems and the turmoils and the wars that are going on. So the books need to be balanced, and that's why we're constantly at war, is because the books are not balanced. And this article is all about that. So, Oasis' brilliant song Champagne Supernova is about the Law Society, the creative vigilantism, and Champagne Supernova describes and visualises a true story of how the head of the Law Society is masturbating in front of little boys that are stripped naked in homosexual violence, right? And this violence is extreme, right? And their masturbation is very real, right? And they are the head of the vigilante system, right? And they are half the world away because they've neglected and denied women their rights to be who they are around, especially around these gay paedophiles with little boys. It's in the books. They are Champagne Supernova. That's the head of the Law Society in the vigilante system. Right, they created vigilantism and the prison communities. That their dad is the Law Society, right, who are gay paedophiles. Now, they believe in 69 sex with little boys, the homosexuals do. They very much appreciate and love 69 sex position with little boys. They very much like this. But they totally banned 69 sex for heterosexuals. They've completely banned it for women, for instance, right? They've completely banned it. But for little boys and the homosexuals, it's completely taken on board, appreciated, done every single day, done by the Law Society, and they absolutely love it. They think it should be part of their lives. This is what they do. This is the head of the homosexuals, upper classes, and the Law Society, all the judges, and the Law Society are led by this guy, Jay, who has banned heterosexuality 69 for heterosexuals, but not for the gays. They fully love this. So in hindsight, and that these people are running the world. They run the banks, everything. They've stolen the banks because the heterosexuals are into sex, and the gays have banned it, but not for little boys and 69 sex for themselves. They love that every single day. They own the banks, stolen it off the Queen because she likes heterosexual sex, because the gays have banned it. So, and then now the ship is sinking, right? Because they are half the world away, these gays. The world is constantly at war. It will be constantly at war while these gays have this penis envy attitude that they've got. They're gay paedophiles, rampant gay paedophiles. They are also the Law Society. They've now become the EU, which is actually the anti-art world, and that's led by 15 gay paedophiles. So there's a whole load of paedophiles in that group, and they're all the Law Society. And then also Champagne Supernova by Oasis talks about them masturbating very relaxed, and without any criticism of themselves, and masturbating and coming all over the place in front of naked little boys. Alright, so they're extremely gay, and they fully accept 69 sex with little boys, but they don't accept it with heterosexuals. They've completely banned it, and in fact they've gone to war with all the women that are into sex and heterosexuality. Right, so to count, and now the ship is sinking, we're constantly spending our money on war rather than on ourselves. We're not self-sufficient because the sex balance is completely wrong. Right, so we need to balance the books. Okay, we need to bring back the goddess Venus, right, and her sexual appetite, and the ancient Stonehenge Celts. that dance around in a festival, a circular festival that's sacred sexuality. All right, so we need to, and this becomes a flourishing society so strong that it can create the Stonehenge site that you see. But we don't have that right now. What we've got right now is half the world away and these awful gays that have banned heterosexuality but not for themselves. Alright, no, gays are fully enjoying homosexual oral sex in 69 positions with little boys, but they won't allow it for the heterosexuals. So that's a sinking ship right there. Scientifically, morally, emotionally, and physically. Alright, so the world has to balance the books and allow sexuality for females. Allow the goddess Venus to come alive and do anything she wants. She's also goddess Athena from Greece and also Mary and also in Christianity. You have female power as well, especially in the modern world. And that's very important to balance the books, right? And if she wants to do prostitution, then that's very good. That's perfectly right, right? And that's going to bring out a more flourishing society where the city and the gold coins are made of gold coins, and the flourishing society that you saw in ancient times, but not today. Right, so Stonehenge was the flourishing time. You can't see strength like that without an extremely flourishing society around it. And there you go, that's a circular site, it's ancient sacredness, and they're celebrating female sexuality. So that's the key, they said, to their flourishing society. Right, and their books are balanced, and their societies and their cities are made out of gold coins. Right, so now we don't have that right now because, as you can see, the awful Stalinistic gays have banned it, but they're due to fail. Why are they due to fail? Because they failed in Russia when they first did this. They're Stalinistic people. They were kicked out of Russia by Putin, right, and the middle classes. They hate Stalin, who killed the middle and working classes. Now he's in Britain, he's the gay communities, the farming industry, and the councils and the banks, and these gays, and the head judges and lawyers. They are a Stalinistic system. They're liars for grievous liars. Okay, they love homosexual sex with little boys in 69, but they've completely banned it for heterosexuality. Ask all the judges out there right now how many people they have personally condemned. Yet their group is a lying group, highly off the scale, balanced off the scale. So we need to balance the book, society. Get away from those judges and balance the books. Okay, if you don't, the society will fail, right? And if you do, society will flourish. It will have a profound flourishing effect. It's also part of evolution. They are not. The enemy are not part of evolution. So the sex and the sacredness that's been celebrated always in a circle that actually comes from northern India and the Krishna people, who are very different these days, but in the ancient times they celebrated female sexuality in a sacred circle, and that's what Stonehenge then became. Right, so now sexuality was important, and that's what Stonehenge people were saying with their temple site. Right, now the reason is because the people and the technology to create such a site was immense, was the highest of the time. Right, because those stones are extremely heavy, right, and they come from quite a way away. Right, so the technology was advanced. So what made them so advanced? Well, they said it was female sexuality. Well, they're correct. Technically, they're correct. Sex creates the advanced brain. Okay, I repeat, sex creates the advanced brain. Animals are essentially sexless creatures, and that's their flaw. So the rhino, who has no sensory system, cannot expand on being a rhino. He cannot evolve out of being a rhino like the humans managed to evolve. And not only were the ancient Celtics and ancient Northern Indians and the Stonehenge people created sex as recreation. So sex was recreational during the Stonehenge times, and that the advanced people and the advanced minds are celebrating female sexuality for a reason, because the advanced brain created incredible feats and achievements such as Stonehenge, and in modern day we have the same. We have great sciences, and this is also inspired and actually comes from a source, and that source is female sexuality, right? And that creates the advanced brain, and we're above the animal world. Certainly the chimpanzee, who has much less sex, not into recreational sex at all. It doesn't stimulate the sensory system whatsoever, and he also a cannibal. He eats his best friend. He says afterwards, "What have I done wrong?" There's his little brain. You see? Now, we're not like that, right? There are people who are like that, that's correct. Yeah, and there have to be, you need to throw a net over them and throw them out of the country, okay? Because they're not part of the modern world, right? That's proven to create great achievements like buildings. Countries with great buildings also had that Stonehenge effect, right? So we must revive that today and reject the gays and the Stalinistic people that have rejected sexuality, imposed 18 sex laws and a whole load of laws and taxes out there, all because of heterosexuality imposed by the gays, who are having sex with little boys and celebrating this every single day, and then banning sex for everyone else. So something that Stonehenge teaches us is that celebrating female sexuality creates great achievements. That's what Stonehenge teaches us. However, the current scholars that are throwing out analysis on Stonehenge have got it all wrong. Certainly they're lying. Alright, and they are the upper classes, and all assumption about Stonehenge must be dismissed, because the upper classes are softy hands. They can't analyse anything, and they need to shut up. They don't have the final word on all of these things, including where the car comes from, and also the origins of Stonehenge. It's actually a circular site that's from northern India, a sacred a sexual site where they celebrated female sexuality, women of all ages, right? And then from there comes great achievements, and that's why they celebrate female sexuality. And this is the core of evolution for humankind. That's why we've evolved and evolved and evolved, whereas the chimpanzee can't do that. All right, he can, but he's just arrogant, too arrogant, and he will never evolve. Never, his population will always be very small. All right, he will never be self-sufficient. He can't do it. He can't even do farming. Right, but there are people out there who act like these chimpanzees, who are a cannibal sect too, cannot be trusted. There are people who are asinine when it comes to sex, much like the cockroach world is also the same. He has a very thick hide. He never has sex, alright, and he can't evolve. Look at the butterfly that metamorphosizes because of sex, right? And then now is off the ground and away from the predators. That's kind of like the beginning of modern day intelligence. Is the metamorphosis system, that humans also have a metamorphosis system, and then the butterfly is our advanced brain. Alright, so now if we knock out the sex side for women and men, this is damaging to the brain, damaging to the metamorphosic process of the human beings. Certainly, all the biology of a human is very metamorphic. It works at night time. Okay, it does all the work at night time, like a chrysalis. Alright, and then afterwards is a product, right? And the product is the advanced brain compared to a fucking chimpanzee that cannot metamorphosize. It doesn't have sex. Sex creates the metamorphic process, right? But then it creates the advanced brain, which is actually a security system, like you have your MI5, the high police, proper lawyers out there. They are a security system from the advanced brain, something that the animal world lacks. They are insecure, undomesticated. So the affectionate animals that are so affectionate, they can be what you call domesticated, and they can live with humans. Right, so there are some humans out there who are undomesticated. You cannot live with them. They're also a cannibal sect, and you need to throw a net over them and throw them out the country. So Stonehenge site is actually celebrating female sexuality, and that's that ancient Krishna people. Right now, this is actually also the law. That Stonehenge site is also the law. Right, so the law got bastardized in modern day. Modern day says something completely different. They're putting people in prison while the gays are sucking little boys' cocks and enjoying this every day. The judges that is. Right, and they're the Law Society, and then they written the book for vigilantism. That kills heterosexuals but not gays. Okay, so when you see a vigilante, throw them in the bin immediately. They need to stop sucking little boys' cocks and then zip their mouth straight afterwards instead of otherwise. And if they do, throw them in the canal until they stop. All vigilantism. Right, so with Stonehenge, as I say, it's actually the Law Society in those times. And those times they made that the law because it founded the great minds of the day. So you can see the same thing going on in ancient Egypt, where female sexuality is explored and celebrated, and then they put in a female leader that is a trophy of all of that. Okay, she's a trophy of women's power, and the power she has over society and communities is very excellent, right? And she created the ancient Egyptian empire, which is probably the biggest empire out of them all. Right, certainly the most successful, the most flourishing, the people inside there the most happy. Alright, and content in ancient times, that's quite difficult. Right, so there was celebrating of female sexuality there too. So in these times, the upper classes are homosexuals, and they don't like any of that, and they banned it. Right, so the homosexuals are brought in ancient Africa, and the witch doctor is prominent in everyday hospitals. In 2025, you'll see the African witch doctor giving people Parkinson's disease and 1,000 other types of ailments such as ADHD, a nervine disorder. So many nervine disorders out there, and that's just a few of them, created by African witch doctors. Brought in by the upper classes and the gays, that have brought in a system that predates Stonehenge by a long time, something called ageism. And the ancient witch doctor from Africa is a very nasty guy, a next door neighbour to caveman. Alright, so Stonehenge is actually modernity in real terms, and we're still yet to come to live in modernity. In 2025, we're living in ageism, constantly at war, the half the world away, without any reason. It's just the sexuality of the homosexuals. It's their perversion. To go to war with Russia, to go to war with Israel, to go to war with Sweden, Germany, Spain, Italy, England, Ireland and America. You see the menace that ageism is. Okay, so Stonehenge, stupidly, is actually modernity. In modern times, we still haven't yet reached modernity. That means flourishing times, living at our most potential, doing what evolution tells us to do and stop denying that. Stop giving it to the gays only. Everyone out there is a vigilante, a homosexual paedophile, and if you're not careful, they're going to throw you in a skip. That's where you belong. You're a liar. So not only you're a liar, but you've literally ruined society and killed thousands of people upon your lies. We will find you, and you belong in a skip. Over and out. So something Stonehenge teaches us to the modernity people and the modern world is that celebrating female sexuality creates great achievements, like massive achievements. For the people of the time of the Neolithics that created Stonehenge, it's a huge achievement what they did. Right, so in modern times, well, everything's banned for a woman. Certainly she's banned herself out there. There is no Sex in the City, for instance. It's completely asinine in the real world, where only gays can flourish. Okay, and half the world they're half the world away. Right, because they have ignored the beautiful women out there. And their potential for society and to be profoundly better than what the gays have created for us, constantly taxing us so they can make money to go to war because countries are not gay, such as Russia, such as Israel. So, in the brilliant song by Oasis, Champagne Supernova, it actually describes a true story about Jay, who's the head of the vigilante system and head of judges and lawyers. He's the head of the Law Society, and he's masturbating in front of little boys that are only 6 or 7 years old. That he's manipulated, he's terrorising in homosexual violence. Right, so now he's masturbating in front of little boys. Right, that's what Champagne Supernova is all about. Right, so now this Law Society are ageism. Right, now that's homosexuality in caveman. So that predates Stonehenge by a long way. And Stonehenge is fucking Neolithic. So when are we going to wake up? Alright, so now actually Stonehenge is the Law Society. It used to be. That's the law, celebrating female sexuality of all ages. Okay, that's the law because it creates great achievements, great minds. Sex creates something called the anti-monkey. Alright, so you're not a cannibal anymore. You're also a wonderful person, trustworthy, safe, full of benefits for other people, unconditional too. Alright, so that celebration is where your benefits comes from. Krishna said free food, free medical and free accommodation for all his students and followers, because those students then go on to create great achievements and they need some backing. Alright, so in today's world it's very asinine, completely the opposite. Right, so when are we going to wake up and become modern life like the Stonehenge people were? Alright, so they are the Law Society actually, and it was bastardised. So when are we going to unbastardise this law in today's world, which has become the caveman, ageism, all those bodybuilders? They're thick as the day is long, compared to the modern day. So the caveman, he can't even speak English properly because he's got no language of his own. He has to borrow from the modern world and the Christian people to speak language, let alone everything else. And now that caveman, he's got us constantly at war with all other countries, so we must not give him our money. Right? You must not give him your tax. So that upper class law society and the homosexuals and vigilantism, they are champagne supernova with little boys. Well, this vigilantism is actually Northern Irish terrorism, and they're also that stupid band Kneecap, right? And there are no girls allowed, half the world away, the world constantly at war. That band Kneecap, right? So they're vigilantes. Really, their real name is Skippy the Kangaroo. That's who they are. Skippy the Kangaroo, or in other words, the village idiot. Alright, they are in caveman's world. You need to get a net, throw them over them and remove them from the country. Alright, because they are a downfall for the education system, for anything that modernises this world. They are ageism. Vigilantism is ageism that denies women and only allows them to have sex with little boys. They fully accept this and have this every day without any criticism whatsoever. So Skippy the Kangaroo is who they are. They should zip it, right? Because people are tired of their wars. Skippy the Kangaroo has got us at war in every fucking country and we can't afford it. We have self-efficiency problems right now because of Skippy the Kangaroo. So Skippy the Kangaroo is the vigilante system that is champagne supernova with little boys, but banned it for women and girls. That's Skippy the Kangaroo, a complete idiot. It belongs in the skip. Alright, now is that yes or it's just yes or no? I mean, if you don't, half the world's away, including your own country, including their own group. Half their own group is going to get disappeared too. Skippy the Kangaroo isn't very clever. He is basically caveman, a long time before Stonehenge.